I thought I found a treasure when I'd left some snacks on my desk over the weekend when I got here this morning. Morning, guys. You've heard of storm chasers, right? Well, there are people who chase eclipses as well, and you're going to meet one who is very excited about next week's total eclipse. Plus, some of the biggest stars in movies, music, and television gathered last night for the Teen Choice Awards. Find out who took home the honors. Stay with us.
Good morning. From Fox 5 News, this is Good Day Atlanta at 8 a.m.
We're learning more about the woman killed Saturday when a man plowed his car into peaceful protesters in Charlottesville, Virginia.
The violence in Virginia leads to marches in the streets of Metro Atlanta. We'll tell you about their concerns and what some of them did in a Midtown park.
Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome to Good Day Atlanta at 8. I'm Buck Lanford.
And I'm Katie Beasley. Thanks for joining us. Let's head right over to Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Joanne Feldman, check in on your forecast on this Monday morning. Okay.
A muggy Monday morning, too. But at least we're not dealing with rain yet. Let's talk about when we will be dodging some showers and storms out there. We're going to warm up first, which it's already starting. 77 at 8 a.m. and high humidity. It's a steamy start to the day. 72 with sunshine in Rome, and then 75 with a little more cloud cover near Covington. But it's not going to be until the middle of the afternoon, probably 2 p.m. and later, that we'll start getting several scattered storms out there. And high temperatures rising close to 90. The humidity will push the heat index over 90. We're looking at an unsettled week ahead. I'll have the details on that coming up in just a few minutes. Katie?
Joanne, thank you. Skyfax traffic alert here. I-20 eastbound ramp to 285 northbound. That ramp still blocked off here. Crews are working to clear. A detached trailer fell off the truck there, and it's a 30-minute trip time from Douglasville coming in to Fairburn Road once you get to that ramp that's just blocked off. Then your big three from the northern suburbs as you head out the door. They're pretty heavy, especially 75, 37 minutes there, 42 minutes on Georgia 400, even heavier, and 85 still a red bright at 20 minutes as you work your way in from 316.
8:01 your time. Violence in Virginia over the weekend after clashes between white supremacist groups and those who came to protest against them.
The college town of Charlottesville is now mourning 3 people who were killed and still trying to make sense of the weekend. A woman was killed Saturday when a car plowed into a crowd of counter-protesters. Plus 2 state troopers monitoring the mayhem were killed when their helicopter crashed. Locally, hundreds of protesters took to the streets. The biggest rally in March took place in Atlanta, starting at Woodruff Park and ending in Piedmont Park.
And that's where a couple of protesters damaged the city's Peace Monument. Good Day's Mark Teigner is live at the monument, and he has our story. Mark, good morning.
Well, good morning to both of you. That Peace Monument actually symbolizes the Southern troops laying down their weapons at the end of the Civil War. And as you can see, it has been damaged, ironically, by some folks who were protesting racism. Someone pulls off part of Piedmont Park's Peace Monument, injuring a fellow protester. The monument, which pays tribute to the reunification of the North and South, was spray painted and chained during Sunday night as protesters voiced their opposition to events in Virginia. Hours earlier, things started calmly in Woodruff Park, where all kinds of people gathered to show opposition to white supremacists and neo-Nazis.
We will not tolerate fascism in our country. We do not have to let these people take our country, and we have absolutely no intention of doing so.
The protesters then marched from downtown to midtown, blocking traffic as they went.
Fight for what you believe in. Fight for what is right. What happened in Charlottesville was not right. This is 2017.
At Piedmont Park, things got a little crazy when at least one protester jumped on the Peace Monument, starting to spray paint it, and then used a chain to bring part of it to the ground. As you can see, there's a memorial here for the Virginia victim laid right here at the foot of the Peace Monument. I do want to point out that there were hundreds of folks out here demonstrating, and it was only a handful, 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4, that got at all disruptive. Most of the other folks stayed peaceful, made their point, and then went home. Reporting live from Piedmont Park, I'm Mark Teigner for Good Day Atlanta.
Mark, thank you. It's 8:03. Hundreds of people also gathered on the Decatur Square yesterday for a vigil for the victims in Charlottesville. They lit candles to pay respect to those who look different from them or hold different views. They remembered the 2 law enforcement officers who died when their helicopter crashed in the town on Saturday. They also held a moment of silence for Heather Heyer, the woman who was killed when she was struck by a car in what police say was an intentional act. Those at the vigil said it was important for them to show that hate will not triumph.
We are people who stand up for what's right, and all these people want to stand up for what's right, and they want it to be known we don't hate, and we won't hate, and we won't allow hate to change who we are. We're Americans.
Participants talked about the importance of not getting complacent and continuing to fight against hate.
The boss of the woman killed in Saturday's violence in Virginia calls her a great person. 32-year-old Heather Heyer was killed when a car plowed into a group of counter-protesters outside a white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. Heyer had worked for Larry Miller's law firm for the past 5 years as a paralegal. Miller says she was a valued member of his team and brought a sense of humor to the office.
It's like a family. She's like one of my kids. She's very compassionate. She's very precise. She's got a big heart. She wants to make sure that things are right. She cares about the people that we take care of.
20-year-old James Alex Fields has been charged with second-degree murder and is being held without bail.
It could be weeks, perhaps even months, before we learn what caused Saturday's helicopter crash that killed those 2 Virginia state troopers. The helicopter went down shortly after Virginia's governor declared a state of emergency following the violence in Charlottesville. Lieutenant Jay Cullen and Trooper Burke Bates lost their lives. Each man leaves behind a wife and 2 children.
Civil rights leaders here in Atlanta are calling on President Donald Trump to revisit the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King. Southern Christian Leadership Conference President Dr. Charles Steele Jr. believes the clashes in Virginia have brought our country full circle in terms of the civil rights movement. He says our country has become complacent, and the only way to address racism is to keep fighting it.
The best thing I would say, I would quote Dr. King again, when Dr. King said that darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And he also said that hate can't drive out hate. Only love can do that. That's the first expression that I would say to our president.
Dr. Steele says the nonviolence movement championed by Dr. King can have an impact in Charlottesville. President Donald Trump, meanwhile, addressed the nation from his golf club in New Jersey following the weekend of violent protests in Virginia.
The president is now facing criticism for his remarks. Many say he wasn't harsh enough. Fox News correspondent Kelly Wright has the story.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides.
President Donald Trump's statement on the deadly race-fueled violence in Virginia not strong enough, according to critics.
Call this white supremacism, this white nationalism evil, and let the country hear it, let the world hear it. It's something that needs to come from the Oval Office.
Clashes erupted during a white nationalist rally. A 32-year-old woman died when one car hit another, ramming into a crowd. 2 state troopers were also killed when their helicopter crashed. The president is under fire for failing to call out any of the supremacist groups by name.
He missed an opportunity to be very explicit here. These groups seem to believe they have a friend in Donald Trump in the White House.
The administration is attempting to add some meat to the president's brief remarks. A statement says the president condemns all forms of violence and, quote, of course, that includes white supremacists, KKK, neo-Nazi, and all extremist groups. Vice President Pence on Sunday night addressed the violence.
These dangerous fringe groups have no place in American public life and in the American debate, and we condemn them in the strongest possible terms.
The Democratic mayor of Charlottesville says he blames the president for inflaming racial prejudice during the 2016 campaign. In New York, Kelly Wright, Fox News.
It is 8:08. He's only been in office a few months, but President Trump is already getting ready for his re-election.
Or at least his campaign people are. Take a look at what they just released.
Democrats obstructing, the media attacking our president, career politicians standing in the way of success. But President Trump's plan is working. 1 million jobs.
Yes, it's a campaign commercial. The 30-second spot attacks Democrats while touting the commander-in-chief's accomplishments his first 7 months in office. The president filed for re-election his first day on the job, a move many have called unusual.
The tense posturing between the United States and North Korea has opened up a strenuous debate on the course the United States should take. North Korea is threatening to fire 4 missiles into the waters off Guam, a U.S. territory, possibly within a few days. Blame has been passed between those who side with the president and his heated words of fire and fury, and those who believe his rhetoric over the last week has been reckless.
That rhetoric, it seems to me, has taken away options or it's reduced maneuver space, if you will, for leaders.
President Trump inherited a mess. To all those smart people who are criticizing his rhetoric and his policy, how well did you do?
Later this month, the U.S. is planning to take part in annual military exercises with the South Koreans and the Japanese. And this show of force is designed to dissuade North Korea and will involve tens of thousands of troops. But some wonder if the exercises may just further increase tensions. We'll have more on that story coming up in a live report from Washington at 8:30.
It's 8:09, and we have breaking news from Coweta County. A water main break has caused the cancellation of today's classes at Moreland Elementary School.
School leaders expect it to be repaired for students to be back in class tomorrow.
It's approaching 8:10 now. Coming up on Good Day Atlanta, a North Georgia deputy shoots and kills a wanted man. Find out why he was forced to open fire.
Also ahead, the search is on for the gunman who opened fire at an auto race in Wisconsin. 3 people lost their lives in that violence. Plus, our forecast, Joanne.
And Buck, it is a humid forecast for the week ahead and one that turns stormy from time to time. We're tracking today's risk of thunderstorms coming up in your Fox 5 Storm Team AccuWeather forecast.